What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday.
Hello.
Oh man,
Happy
I've been looking
Wednesday.
forward to this all
Wednesday.
day.
It is
What are you guys
Wednesday.
doing? How's it going? Is your day going nice?
Busy.
Smooth as silk.
Busy is good, right?
Yes.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. Still got a lot of calls to get it done tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
burning the
That's
midnight.
good. That's good.
You're lucky. We're sending them all back up north because it's emptying out here. Season's over and they're all going back north.
All the blue hairs are leaving.
Yep. Massive trail going back through Virginia and back up to New England, over to Ohio and Minnesota. We don't have too many guys on the group from Ohio or Minnesota, do we?
Not too many.
Not yet, Chris. Come on, Chris. You got to recruit
Yeah.
some more.
What's going on? What's up with those Minnesota and Ohio people anyway?
Yeah. Jump on
Is it-
here.
What they got against us?
In Massachusetts, where's Joe Flynn?
What's up with that?
I haven't seen many posts from Joe in a long time. He used to be on like every day.
I know. Maybe Joe is just super busy and just doesn't have time to post.
I think he got pretty busy and looks like he got a new shop. And so he's probably wrapped up with doing stuff like that.
Joe?
That shop.
No, I thought that was Brian. Brian got the new shop, right?
Yeah. Like he posted it. Well, Brian did too, but Joe did also post a.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he is into a new space also. So, boy, that will bog you down.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, there's big kind of a front end load of work whenever you get into a new space and all that. Getting it organized, set up, stocked, and trying to remember where you put stuff, and walk into a room and can't remember why you walked in there. So you walk back to the
That's
room
just
you
old
came from,
age.
then you remember. You got to turn around and go back. Oh, is that just me?
I do that all the time.
Oh, it's looking where you put the cases of caulking and then you realize you don't use caulking.
Yeah,
Maybe Curdy
exactly.
That's
wonder
just
I'm-
you.
No wonder I'm out of caulking. I don't have it. I don't use it. Oh my gosh, what's up with that? I actually did.
That's why he doesn't use
though.
it.
It was funny. I did run out. I was like, oh man, I was using excessive amounts of silicone for some reason. Sometimes you get on a whole and actually, to be honest, it's like I do use it probably a little bit more than I let on. There's a lot of times at the bottom you really can't get away without doing a little bit of sealing there, especially if it's close to anything. If it's close to, if you've got any baseboard that's nearby, or if you've got any got like wood work, vanity, whatever, you gotta use a little bit of that stuff, even though I'm against it.
The truth comes out.
I'm on the record now.
Goes
I'm
out.
against it. So what are we talking about today? I remember at the end of the last meeting, somebody brought up the topic. It might have been Mark. I don't remember. Somebody brought up the topic of getting help. How do you find it? How do you how do you recruit people? Get people on your team. I don't know. Anybody got any ideas about that? I mean, we've all got enough work, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just like,
The question I have is it easier for the big guys to find labor than it is for the little guys? Simply because the big guys are big. I mean, the name is out there. The word of mouth is out there. I don't have a preconceived notion is a question.
I can help a little bit on that. The key is to make yourself relevant in your market where people want to work for you. Either you're advertising in the right spots. For instance, the guys that you want to hire, in your mind, you probably have a pretty good idea of the age group, guys that are strong enough that can lift glass. So where would you find guys that would be capable for I'm assuming you want installers as opposed to salespeople. But if it was installers, place like the Gold's Gym or the workout areas where the guys are working out, local softball, soccer fields, things like that. Are you advertising in those areas, making yourself relevant? Are you advertising on local sports network or where that age group would listen to, looking for a career? But you've got to make your company relevant so that they're aware of it. I think that's the bigger thing. We made a big push a few years ago to really, get our name out there and give benefits where people would say, that's the kind of company I want to work for. And it's really made a difference. And I know we're paying more than most, and we're offering a lot of good benefits and paid time off, where the average glass shop doesn't do that. But when you advertise those benefits, people will start applying. They will. And, and you get momentum. The bigger you get, obviously your networking gets bigger because you have more employees that know somebody. And then we give a referral to the existing employees if they bring somebody in and stay more than 90 days. That's good too. So those things really help. Take your existing crew that knows what the job's like and let them be your salesman, and then reward them for it, because it's cheaper than going to an employment agency.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We didn't
Bill, I couldn't agree more with you. I grew up in a very blue collar area where there was a lot of power plants, coal mines, steel mills. And when I was in high school, I remember my classmates saying when we were graduating, if I could just get on at the local power plant or this mine or this mill, they paid good benefits. They had great livable wages. And when I got into my business, and as the time went by, I tried to emulate that. Obviously, I can't do a lot of the things, but what you said has, I think, some benefits and livable wages and things that I've done. I think it's not necessarily, I've always said I wanted to have a company where people said those comments about Royal Glass, that, hey, if I can get on at Royal Glass, I'm good to go. So I haven't had an influx of people where I can just pick and choose. It's certainly been a struggle, like you've all commented, but what I think it has done is it has led to a lot of long-term employment. I don't have turnover. I don't have these guys that are there for 30 days, 60 days, or a year and they're out. I have had guys, I've been in business 18 years, 17 years, 15 years. I mean, I think it has helped retain, and it's also an attractive thing too. If you can make, your comment is right on. I couldn't agree more. So.
Yeah. And, you can use your customers also, if they're happy with you, say, hey, maybe somebody that might like to do this line of work.
Yeah.
There's people that are really good with their hands, really good. And what's nice about the job is you do the job and you're out. You're not stuck in a factory or a plant every single day. You're in and out of the house in 2-3 hours, depending on the size of the job, and on to the next one. Your days fly by. You have a feeling of accomplishment. You get the gratification when the customer comes in and you give the reveal of what it looks like. I don't know. It can be a very good job. And I don't ask my guys if they get tips, but I'm assuming they do. And, that only adds to the flavor of the job.
Better that you don't ask, right?
I don't want to know. I don't
That's
want to
right.
know. All I want to know is the customer's happy and they did a good job and they came back with a check.
Exactly.
The question is, are the guys who said they're having trouble hiring, do they have one or two people or no people and they can't find anybody? Or I guess I'm lost on, is it trying to grow? I mean, I know, Bill, you guys have been on a tremendous growth surge. We've got 22 people. And although I feel there's a labor problem, I don't feel like it's the biggest problem that I have right now by anything. I mean, when we look for people, we look for attitude. We actually do not look for glass experience. It's a negative. It's an absolute negative. We look for attitude because attitude can't be fixed. You can train. Bill said people that are good with their hands. So when I look at applicants, I'm looking for people who don't job hop, I'm looking for people who worked through high school. I'm looking for people who had some kind of job with their hands that were always busy. Like a night security guard wouldn't be high on my list. You know, so that's what we're looking for. And also people who maybe been in a job where they haven't been appreciated. And if you can't give all the benefits right now, because that takes time, make it up in appreciation. A little bit here, great job. Mrs. Jones said you did a great job. Here's $20 for a gift card. Here's $50 for a gas card. Something. If the small guys don't have benefits right now, and Bill's worked up, we've got 401k, we've got health insurance, we've got health savings accounts, we match 401ks, we match health savings accounts. And I think maybe some of the smaller guys are like, I can't do that. I mean, I can barely afford to hire one person right now. And you're saying add all these benefits. Well, that'll come with time. And I think that's what's happened with Bill. It certainly happened with us. But you start out with a small group, appreciate them, genuinely appreciate them, and then you can grow from there.
Yeah, I mean, we bonus them for customer reviews, these Google reviews. And when we started doing it, you can see our Google reviews just grew exponentially. We're up to 2,500. People like scratch their heads and say, I can't believe it. But 2,500 Google reviews with still a 4.9 rating. So, you know, we have good interaction, and our installers are taught those soft skills, how to deal with customers, how to introduce themselves, how to explain the use of the door, how, you know, everything from the sweep, how to take it off and clean it. And the customers love that because the average glass shop doesn't do it. So you just go the extra mile and you teach them what to do to the point where they're repeating it day in and day out. So it's every single crew says the same thing and we're all on the same page. It's so powerful. So yeah, maybe I'm overpaying, but I make it up in volume. It really is. If you want to grow your company, that's what you got to do.
Yep.
How much are you paying for that when you get a 5-star review, and what do you give as a bonus?
All right, because of the size of our company, we have broken it up where they have to get part of their, all right, we have skill-based pay, right? Start off at level 1 and the highest level is a 4. If you're a level 4, your job is to get that review. That is part of your job. And you're paid on it, but you need to get a minimum number per month. So let's say all of the installers group together, they need to get 25 reviews. Everything over 25, the company kicks in $500 and it's split among the guys that got the reviews. We know who they are. And then every 25 after that, another 500 goes in the kitty. So they could get $1,500 split among whoever are the guys that get the reviews over that month.
Two-man teams?
They're two-man teams. The lead guy always gets it. And if he wants to share that with his helper, that's fine. But he's the one that knows the ritual, what to say, how to treat the customer. And the whole time he's teaching his apprentice how to do that. So when they become a lead, then they get that. So that's the benefit of being a lead and running a truck. You take responsibility, but you get the benefit also.
And Bill, I'm going to jump in. You talk about, you know, your guys getting reviews, but they don't get the reviews if they don't treat the customers the way you're talking about. And we get so many jobs because the other guy comes in with an attitude that he knows glass and the customer really doesn't know what they want, or that there's just a certain air of, superiority. And we hear our reviews that we get, we don't have a system like you do. They're the same thing. They showed up on time. They were polite. It was cleaner when they left before they got here. And then the glass is beautiful. The glass they expect. That's what they pay for. You showed up. You didn't sit in the driveway talking on your cell phone for 10 minutes.
Yep.
All these things. I said, you're being judged the minute you drive up. That's when the judging starts, not when the glass starts going in. And so many of our competitors think they're selling glass and that's all they're selling. When you're selling respect, you're going to treat everybody. Every customer has a story about how somebody came in and mud all over their shoes, didn't clean up after themselves, left debris, trash, dirty feet on the tile. They all have those stories and that's what they remember. And so if you've got a guy on your crew right now who kind of thinks he runs things and he's going to talk to customers the way he wants to talk to them, but he's really a good installer, so we can't let him go. You need to let him go. You need to get a guy who treats customers with respect and then build that whole culture.
You got to treat everybody with respect, especially as partner. Especially
Yes.
as partner. You can't talk
Yep.
down to him. You can't demean
Yep.
him. You're
Yep.
to coach him and bring him up so he can be a lead. You know, when the tide rises, the whole boat rises and everybody rises with it. And that's the attitude that we have to have. And that's how you grow your business. And customers know that. They go into a house, you can just feel it in the air. You know, starting off with the introduction. Hi, I'm Matt from My Shower Door, and I'm here to do your door, and I'm going to give you the best experience possible. And man, that tears their defenses down immediately. And
Right.
if, you know, there's a less chance that they're going to pull up a chair and watch it the whole time. I mean, I saw that post today where the guy says, you know, that lady was sitting on the bed and looking at her and said, what are we
Go
doing?
get some
Customers
Cracker
like that?"
Jacks.
Yeah, right. I saw that post.
That was a great.
So I have a,
Once you make friends with them, they're going to feel awkward about sitting there. You know, you got to
So-
realize
Good point.
you're in their
So-
domain right now. They have every right to do it. They have every
Right.
right to do it. You got to make them feel comfortable. Once they're comfortable, they won't be there.
Yeah, they'll find something better to do, right?
Yeah. Your
so as
assertiveness and your professionalism is going to make them feel uncomfortable. That's the funny part.
I have a question and a small comment. As the space is an area I live in pretty much every day these days. First of all, most people on this call are going to have great service. If I walked into most of your shops, I would say it's probably a 4.9 if you're taking the time to educate, to care. I think one of the tricks too, which don't take this wrong way, Bill, I'm surprised you only have that many. I would imagine you guys could get to 5,000, 6,000 pretty quick with the size of your operation. I'm going to challenge all of you and ask a question. How many of you give your customers multiple opportunities to review you from the moment they call you to when they shake that final hand, and not just lean on your employees? For example, in bid clips, when you hit completed, it sends them a customized email, and it keeps, so you can set them to keep following up, so that just make it really seamless for them to click, review, done. We've all experienced it, airlines, etc. Glass business, showers especially, we are not great at giving opportunities for customers to just give us that review. And two things I like to encourage people: give us a review, or tell us, would you have hired that person today? And if not, why not? And when we see our shops that are power users doing this, it's amazing, guys. And so I want to ask, how many of you guys, or how many of you ask your customers, not just your technicians, but they send them email, text message, give them that opportunity to seamlessly review you with true and sincerity? And how many times do they get that opportunity from moment they make that first yes to moment the door is completed?
Well, let me ask you a question. When you say customers, you're saying that you've sealed the deal now. So these are not proposals. These are not penders.
Correct.
These are actual customers.
Yeah. Ours start when the job goes to sold, reserve, or they goes to completed. And we also have some of our clients start it when it is won as a job. So as soon as the job is won, deposits paid, how was the experience? Can you review us? And what we'll find is sometimes customers will review early, and then even if the job goes a little south, they might update their review and you have a chance to come back at it. And if you've done some research, the more you go back and forth with your customers in the reviews, which is a whole topic for another discussion, the better that actually performs for your search engine optimization. So I just want to ask, how many points do our customers get to just click and review easily from their phone, from their computer? How easy do we make it? I'm just curious.
Okay, we do it
Yeah,
once
correct.
we do it once at the end.
Okay.
What were you going to say, Greg?
So one. And you don't do more than one?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll follow
we-
up. Once I get a
Yeah.
review, I will always follow, whether it's good or bad. I will always respond.
Yeah. Very good.
But only
Yeah, whether you use MailChimp, bid clips, whatever the program, I really encourage that extra second week after, third week after the deposit's made. How do we do? That's great. That's great feedback to your sales staff. And often we'll get reviews. It was slick. It was easy. We're excited. That's a Google review. You haven't even finished the door yet. So if you need help, reach out to me, reach out to whoever you're using. But I'm telling you guys are all great providers. I've been in this group. I mean, this is the cream of the crop. You should be getting reviews like crazy. And that really helps your search engine optimization, helps build trust. And then when you are starting to move into your content creation, your website development, that will reinforce it at a level I just can't tell you. And oftentimes people ask me, what do your best users do? It's night and day, but it's not that they Bill said all the right things. We have to coach our team. And I'm not sure the gentleman who spoke, although I haven't met you yet, but that's correct. We have to do the right thing, but we also have to make it very easy. Just like you have to make it easy for people to give you their money, make it easy for people to tell you how they did. And then have a posture of ready to accept it. And Bill, you have said something awesome. Then respond to the customer. Even if it's bad, respond. Fall on the sword. Take full ownership. I am sorry. We messed up. We're going to make it right. And you do those three things, your business, you will start seeing, not to say more opportunity, but better qualified customers, ones who are willing to pay a little bit more for service, and it will help qualify the right clients.
I'll give you an example of something today that went on, and I was kind of proud of it. But take an example. You go to a restaurant, you get a bad meal, and you tell your server, what's the first thing they're supposed to do? They should go to management, and you probably will get a visit at your table from a manager, right? If you got a visit at your table from the owner of the establishment, it makes you feel even better. So we had a case of spontaneous breakage. Customer was in bed, heard the glass break, went in there, made a big deal over it. I don't know why, but he called his attorney to say, hey, this glass broke. And the attorney said, well, it's a good thing you weren't in the shower. So he put a picture on social media about the glass breaking, and it was ours. And he went to the local news station, and they did a big story about spontaneous breakage. Never mentioned a company, thank God, but it was a big story about spontaneous breakage and the potential of getting hurt. So I saw this. I called the customer and I says, I understand you experienced spontaneous breakage, and we've installed over 100,000 doors, and if you add probably 2.2 panels per door, you're talking 200,000 panels. And in all my years, I've experienced 5 situations of spontaneous breakage. 2 of them were in our shop before we ever installed them. It's an extremely rare situation. However, I understand your concern. Here is my personal cell phone. Call me anytime. If you have a question about this, I want you to understand this glass was tempered and certified to federal standards, and we send it out to a third-party testing laboratory. The intention is if it does break, it goes into 1 million pieces where you only get superficial wounds. So you wouldn't lose a limb like it would have been with plate glass. Says, oh, I didn't understand all that. I says, I really wish you would have contacted us first before going to that. But in either case, I understand your frustration, but I want you to be assured this is a rarity and we're going to fix it. He says, well, what do I got to do so it doesn't happen again? So there's no guarantee it'll never happen again. It's very rare. It's like saying you're going to get hit by lightning twice. It could happen, but there is a safety film that can be put on. So at least if it breaks, it stays together. But because it's a shower, you may get delaminating, you may get some bubbling, you may not like the aesthetics. So you have to ask yourself what's more important to you, the aesthetics or your safety. If it's safety, then I would suggest you put a safety film on it. By the time the call was over, he went on, he took down the original post and added that this company reached out to him, explained it, and he feels totally different about it. So it's having the communication, being open, owning up to a potential problem, whether it's yours or not. Like Jim said, you fall on a sword, but they feel that they're being heard. And I did hear it. I mean, I was very concerned about it. But last thing I want them to do is just run to the news, and all of a sudden nobody wants shower doors anymore because it's a danger. Yeah. That's the last thing.
Have they contacted your company, Bill?
They did, yeah. After the fact, after the news story ran.
That's what I meant. They didn't. He didn't call you before.
Called the news company first, then went into the showroom, explained it. We looked it up. The job was installed in 2016, and it was just in the middle of the night. It blew. He was in bed. He heard the bang.
Yeah.
Nobody got cut. It happens. I said, you could Google it. You'll see it all over the place. And we are working on trying to get a solution for that. I'm actually working to try and get a liquid to put on, so if the glass breaks, it'll somewhat stay together so you don't get those shards that jump out. Trying to get it, do it without a film.
So you can heat soak it.
That's a great example, Bill. I'll never forget my dad. He was the king of customer service, and so many times he would sit down, especially in auto glass. We scratched your car. You just start with, "This happened, and we're very sorry." Then the customer would just calm, and then talk through him. Before you know, the customer is just, and we're going to fix it. It's amazing how quickly we get defensive. And I just think that was a great story that you didn't even, and not, this isn't a case where it's your fault. I just mean, even if it is our fault, which oftentimes it is, that things happen, teaching our team how to take ownership with love, empathy, and caring. Don't give too much away. Just done, no excuse. Let me tell you what we're going to do. And then other thing, we always want to just throw free stuff at the customer. Ask the customer, what can we do to make this right? Oftentimes they'll just say, we just wanted an apology. Thank you. That's it. Or yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe my wife's got some windows on her house. Oh, let's go take a look at them. I'll give you a discount. And sometimes we're just so quick to, you want it free and defensive, and et cetera. And so I love that. And I was going to tell you all, because I know I made this comment, how do you follow? Well, I know you're like, we're really busy. We don't have time to set up campaigns to make it easy. I did a podcast episode with this company called Nice Job. They're very affordable, reputation management. They not only do it for you, but they teach. I don't mean to plug them. I get nothing from it, but they do it for you really nicely and easily. And they also, in that podcast, they talked about ways to do this well, ways to own problems well that help with SEO, search engine optimization, work with just building your company from a Google level. And so I'm going to drop it in the chat here, and I'll send it over to you, Chris. If you guys feel like listen to, you can, but if you need some help and you don't have time, they're a good company to set all that for you.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's always good to have, some leads like that.
Mm-hmm. But like the tempered glass blowing up, that's 1 in a million. And the Viracon, they heat soak all their glass to make sure it doesn't, blow up on jobs, the big jobs.
Yeah. Tell me about that. What do you mean by heat soak? That I'm not familiar with.
Well, so the glass has nickel sulfide in it.
Yeah.
And that's the imperfection.
Yeah.
So when it activates, it blows up the glass.
Okay.
So if it's under a heat source, the glass will blow up. So like Viracon, they're one of the largest insulating glasses company, I think, in the United States, that ships out to all the high rises. So they heat soak their tempered glass to make sure it's not going to blow up on 10 stories up.
I guess my question is, why does heat soak work and tempering not? Because you're heating the glass in an oven.
They say the heat can make the glass, the sulfite, activate and blow the glass up.
At what temperature?
I don't know that, but there was a building down in Australia that was losing windows right and left. It's sort of like that tower back in Midwest someplace. And they took high definition pictures of all the glass and identified what glass had the nickel sulfite in it.
Yeah.
And they kept track of it over the years, and those are the ones that were blowing up.
So are they heat soaking it after tempering?
After tempering, yeah.
I'll research that. Greg, have you heard of that?
I have not heard of it. Not at all. I'd always heard of tempering and then whatever is between the heat treated glass, so that when it cracks, it runs to the end.
Right.
But not this
But
heat.
in regular glass, the nickel sulfide won't do anything. But in tempered glass, if it activates, then it blows it up.
That's interesting.
We don't have, ours are like Bill's. The heavy glass that's blown up is rare. Sliders, which I don't, like the 1/4-inch sliders, those are much more likely to blow. Something comes off the rail. So if it's a rental property or something, and then it drags on the track and nobody calls anybody, and then it blows up. Oh, what happened?
Yeah. But 10-15 years ago that came out, and I read up on it, and some shower door we put in a motel blew up, and I told her, it says, it's spontaneous, and then she called another company. They didn't have a clue about the spontaneous breakage.
Is the heat soaking a piece of equipment, like another oven?
I think I'm not really sure how it's done, but I know these bigger companies do it.
Interesting. Got to be on YouTube. Got to be on YouTube, Bill.
Have to
when
be.
you're putting out,
I'll be on it tonight.
DIY heat soaking.
when you're putting out 3,000 or 4,000 units of, insulated glass
Sure.
for high rises, you don't want them blowing up on you. So
Nope.
Very interesting.
So all the guys here, how many of them have experienced any with spontaneous breakage? Any?
I've had it.
Okay.
One on a slider. But I don't know if it was actually spontaneous or some sort of hardware or something. You don't know. We weren't there. You have to take the customer's word on it too. It could have been,
Well, you
wind.
see, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, is it really, like a nickel sulfide inclusion that caused spontaneous breakage? Or did somebody bang that piece of glass and knock a chunk out of it a year ago? And it's just been unstable ever since. And then now it's like, I think with the bypass, like the, 1/4-inch bypass tub enclosures or whatever, I think it happens a lot of times, people slam them and then just knock a little chip out of it. And all of a sudden it's like, it's unstable.
Yeah.
It could just go at any time.
Well, especially
It doesn't have to be an inclusion to do that. So, it could have been, had no, nickel inclusions in it at all and still have
How many, what do you do when
it
it happens? You guys warranty it?
I did.
Wow. No.
I had my intern put it back together piece by piece. He's still working on it. It was
Is
6
he?
years ago. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Nice.
We had one a couple years ago. It was a big 3/8 door notched in line, then a big panel, and then a mirror image of the door notched in line, like a big C shape. And I was on the install with 2 other guys. We installed it. I personally cleaned the glass, got everything ready, took pictures of it because I thought I wanted it on my website. When I got home and sat down for dinner at 7:30, the phone rang. It was that customer. And he said, this glass, my wife had surgery today. We walked in the house, brand new house, opened the master bedroom or bathroom door, and that glass had exploded, spontaneous combustion. I was there with another tech until 10:30 that night. We cleaned it up. He was shocked. He was nervous, scared, all those things that Bill had described of his experience today. I did warranty that. That's the first time it ever happened. I didn't know what the hell happened, but I don't know, and I don't know the time frame when it happened. All I know is that I cleaned it. I thought the guy was joking when he called me, but he was not joking. There was a lot of glass all over the place. So.
Yeah, we warranted ours, and I remember calling the fabricator at the time. We were using Cardinal shower enclosures, and they actually ended up just either giving us half off, or we bought so many doors from them it wasn't a problem. But yeah, perception's reality. The customer's perception is it's faulty, and they're always right from their perspective. So unless you're going to either move that perspective, it's just cheaper to just replace it. Say you're sorry, do it, build it, empathize, explain it, and be onward. I don't know unless it's like 5 panels all blue and it was a contractor and they'll work with you. I think if it's a cash customer or a retail customer, that's hard. Now, if it's a contractor, maybe talking with the contractor, working together, finding some additional work to offset that loss or something, get creative. But as long as the end customer, if they know about it and they're affected by it, we need to take care of them. If they're not, then we figure out other ways to deal with it.
There's one thing to have the glass explode, but there's also collateral damage. We had to pay for tub repair because it gouged the tub. We paid for new cabinet doors because when it exploded, obviously it under that tension it dug into the cabinet doors. We had a hell of a mess on our hands, but it's not just a glass breakage.
Nope.
So here comes the major question to everybody here. This is really important for the whole group. When you're selling a door, do you make the customer aware that there's a potential for tempered glass?
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't have that talk.
I don't.
No. I've
the
thought
exception,
about
the
that.
exception, not the
Can you
exception, not the
imagine
rule.
all the things that you have to tell a customer though? I mean, if you went through the litany of everything, glass implosion, well, that's going to open up a can of worms. Now you've got a 7-minute conversation and potential leak due to such and such, or, I mean, you can go through the litany of so many things that could go wrong or that they need to be aware of or whatever. You'd take an hour. And it's almost like that's what, I'm trying to do blogs on my website that help address some of these things. And one of the things I was going to ask as a group here, because I just had a problem with one of my customers this previous week. He complained about a tile cracking, and it's rare when we crack a tile, but it happens. And I was, but the guy wants so much to resolve this. He wants me to guarantee that if it cracks more, because I fixed it, and you could hardly even tell there was a crack. And he wants me to guarantee that I'll pay for an uninstall so he can retile it, and then I'll pay for reinstalling after he retiles the whole shower because he can't find a matching piece. And it's kind of a ridiculous thing. And then he kind of went into some other things. It was a perfect install for the most part. Okay. It was really, everything fit beautifully. Silicone work was beautiful, everything. And I just felt like it was a customer issue. But I was sitting there thinking as a group, what if we had a third party that, and I know that the National Glass Association is kind of a third party, but what if we could have something that we can reference to the customers, say, hey, you could go to this website. It's written by a group of shower door professionals out there that address these issues. And if you have questions, then that becomes a third party and kind of takes the heat off of us a little bit.
I was just
I was
just gonna say with that installation guide, Bill, maybe that is a topic that we make sure we highlight and let people know it's there, because I do think that it needs to be in a place in case it happens. But we are working on that installation guide for NGA, and maybe that's a good spot to reference and just make it really available so everybody can put it on their website. And that way, you're not managing to the exception, you're managing the rule, but you are ready for the exception to happen.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you what
I want to finish up this story, because the guy says to me, he says, no one ever told us about the potential there, but I searched on the internet and I saw pictures of a lady getting cut in a hotel in Chicago and da-da-da-da. He said, don't you think you should have told me? I says, let me ask you a question. How many cars have you purchased in your life? He said, probably 5. I said, every time someone sold you a car, did they tell you that your windows could explode? Because your side windows are tempered. Your windshield is laminated, but your side windows are tempered. They could explode spontaneously. Did everyone ever tell you that? Well, no. Well, those are things, I mean, I don't go in and say your tile could crack, I don't know, I could hit a water pipe behind here. The vibration might force a plate off the wall on the other side, grandma's ashes of her urn. We could go through 50 things that could happen.
Exactly.
And like Ryan said, there's a point where, people have to realize this is glass. And, so obviously he was trying to use that logic. I'm saying, look, I understand and I'm empathetic, but keep in mind, everywhere you look and there's glass, there's tempered glass for a reason. And you really should be thankful that it wasn't plate glass, that if it broke, you could have got severely hurt or decapitated. This is caused to break. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, unfortunately, it was spontaneously, but that's the nature of that. And that's the law, the way we have to sell that glass, or you have to use laminated glass. And until they get to the point where it doesn't delaminate in a wet environment, that's really not the product of choice. So he finally got it after I explained it to him. But I just want to make everyone aware here, that situation will arise at some point, whether it's spontaneous or customer created. If you're doing resorts and hotels and a drunk client goes back to their room at night and slams the sliding door and it explodes, somewhere that call is going to come to you. You got to be prepared for it.
Mhm.
That's true.
Good
So
On the crack, go ahead.
still regarding the safety issue with the glasses, do some of you guys offer the safety film? If you guys offer, you guys do at home, or you guys get someone to your shop and put the film in and send it to the customer? How you guys do that?
We have a local company. It's called Transparent Glass Coatings, TGC, and they're pretty awesome. They do like all kinds of like any kind of applied film. So it could be anything from like a decorative thing, or to kind of try to match some tinting that other windows have or stuff like that. I don't do much of it anymore, but and they'll go on site and do it. And that's what I always prefer to do. If we ever have to apply anything, any kind of a coating to glass like that, I don't want to do it before it's installed, and have to try to work around it. I want to install it, have them go. And we're fortunate to have this company here locally. They're great. Their customer service is really great. So I don't feel bad about sending them to my customer. I know they're going to take care of them.
No, we use them all the time.
Yeah. You're in our area. Yeah, they're awesome.
Like
right?
Now, are you doing it in house or doing it the same way Chris is?
Well, I had a bank that broke a plate and it had this coating on it, but they remodeled the bank and walled the glass off. So I had to have them come in the shop and put the film on, then go put it in.
Okay.
Yeah, and Peter, we have the option of both. We can do it in the shop before it goes out, or we can sub it out to a company like Chris has, and they'll do it at the job site. The problem with doing it at the job site is it comes on a roll, and when you take it off, it has electrostatic electricity to it. And if it's a dusty environment, you have to worry about dust getting in there. And once they apply the film, you can't get the dust out.
Yeah.
So customers might complain that there's a bubble in there, or there's a piece of hair or film. So it theoretically should be done in a clean room, just like they're doing laminated glass. But it can be done in the field, but the customer has to have an expectation that you may see a flaw in it, and you have to make that decision. Are you doing it for safety, or are you doing it for looks? If you're doing it for safety, then you may have to deal with a little air bubble or a slight imperfection, and your clarity may not be exactly the same.
Got it. Yep.
And it goes back to what Chris says every week. It's all about setting the expectations when you're talking to the customer in the beginning. Just be upfront with them. Give them the good, the bad, and the ugly, but just be honest with them.
Hey, Bill, I want to go back to the heat soaking.
Yeah.
That's where they place the tempered glass inside a chamber and raise the temperature to approximately 550 degrees Fahrenheit to accelerate the expansion. And this will cause the exclusion to break in the heat soak chamber.
So why isn't it break in the quench? It's coming out at 16 or 1300 degrees.
Yeah, but then
why wouldn't it break then?
I don't know, but that's what Guardian that's their definition of it is.
So they're saying if it's pass fail, so if it fails, it'll blow up there. Otherwise, it's good.
Goes into the oven and they raise the temperature. And it doesn't break, then it's fine. But if it's in there, it'll break.
So has there ever been an instance where a piece of heat-soaked glass or water-soaked or heat-soaked glass has had spontaneous breakage?
That I don't know. Well, no, it's not 100% effective.
Okay, so that doesn't solve the problem.
No,
it's
not
probably
100% effective, but
minimizes it a lot.
It minimizes it.
Interesting.
But the question is it cost effective if you're running in your case, Bill, 200,000 pieces of glass plus, where do you draw the line? Good grief.
Yeah.
Well, right. And how you handle that? How's it going into that water? How long does it stay in there for?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there's a
don't
lot.
think it's water. It's just the temperature, I think.
You think
Maybe
it's
just a setting on this. Can you run it back through the tempering oven at 500 degrees? Is that heat soak it?
That I don't know.
Is it worth it to have one panel out of 100,000 not?
No.
And especially if it's not 100%.
especially if
Especially
you
Are you
if it's
going
in a shower
to
door.
do that to every panel that you produce?
Right.
And then with the hope of like 1 in 100,000 not spontaneously breaking.
Right. It's
even
worth
though
it on a
not gonna
high
be
rise.
100%.
Yeah, it's worth it on a high rise.
High
but
rise.
Your shower door stuff, no.
No. Yeah.
And
So let me
guess what?
get-
You're going to do that, and guess what? That same customer is still going to go to the news first
Yeah.
before they call Bill, right? Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
I'm just looking at buyer's rationale. So let's say you're out on a sales call and you offer a film, but let's say it's not on a shower door, it's on your car windows. Somebody explains to you, hey, Brian, you're buying this new car, it's got tempered glass. There's a possibility that it could break. It's very, very slim.
No.
Would you like to pay an extra $300 and we will film all of your tempered glass in your car? How many people do you think would say, yeah, I need to do that?
Very few, and especially my deal is you're going to get a hold of that one engineer or that one guy,
Mhm.
and he's just going to wear you out because you just brought up a question, just like I think Chris said or somebody else said earlier. You're going to get into conversations that, good. I don't have time for those
It's like,
conversations.
what else can go wrong?
Yeah.
Tell me
Well,
what
I
else
assume-
can go wrong.
I
Well, you
assume
turn
the
around.
films also get marred up and scratched.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely, they
absolutely.
can. But you would say, okay, so on your car, you're going to spend extra money to get tires that don't give you a blowout. You're
Yeah,
going
well,
to
involved
get an
with,
engine, all the possible things that could go wrong.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
it's really interesting because that's the first road that lawyers go down. Hey, you knew that the spontaneous breakage is a thing and you didn't make anybody aware of it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they do.
Mhm.
Well, I did have a situation once where there was a spontaneous breakage. It's been probably about 4 years ago. Lost some sleep over it because this guy was, trying to get me to pay a lot of money and everything. He claimed his wife was injured and blah, blah, blah. But I got there within minutes. I mean, and she just had a couple little scratches on her arms. And about a year after that, I had another customer who happened to be a lawyer, and he had a piece of glass that was installed by his tile guy that broke, but that was not spontaneous. It was installed improperly and it fell off the tracks. It was like a barn door slider. But that lawyer told me that, you also have to be able to prove causality. They might say, okay, that it was spontaneous, it just happened in the middle of the night, but they have to be able to kind of prove that as well. In my case, the lady, we had just finished the install. We were off starting another install, and she was sliding the door back and forth. Maybe, but we had a seal on the edge, so it shouldn't have hit the wall. But maybe she was slamming it. Who knows? But the lawyer said that it's pretty hard to prove causality, so they'd have to say and be able to prove it was spontaneous combustion. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, but you don't want to get
keep
to
that in mind.
You don't want to
mind.
get to the point to where it's like, litigated, right?
Yes.
I mean, you want to solve it way before that,
yes.
Right.
and so that's what I like about, Bill's approach, what like Jim is saying, the same sort of thing. It's like, if this is something that's going to happen 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, whatever, is something I'm going to run into once every 10 years. I have accounted for some breakage in my budget, right? I mean, I work with glass, So if you work with glass and you're not accounting for some breakage, you need to rethink like what you're doing. So fortunately I don't break. I figured like 10%, which I thank God I have never broken 10% of my glass, but I figure that into the overhead, right? It's like, yeah, glass is gonna get scratched, it's gonna get chipped, it's gonna break. So hopefully, if I get that call, hey, my glass just blew up in the middle of the night. Yeah, take Bill's approach, be really sympathetic, understanding.
Sure.
Hey, what, is everybody okay? Right? First thing you say, everybody's okay, right?
First question.
That's the number one thing you say.
Mhm.
Okay, good. I'm glad nobody's injured or anything. What can we do to help? They may not expect you to replace it. They may not expect you to, they may, if they do, probably the smartest thing to do is take care of that.
Yeah.
And then because you can turn lemons into lemonade. It's like if someone's had a bad experience and you come in and rescue them, you can end up being the hero. And that can end up being like a 5-star review.
So I'm curious, Bill, did he expect you to cover that under warranty? Did he expect that this should never happen? I'm curious about his mindset.
No, his mindset is that no one ever told him that it was a possibility and ever offered him a film. After he investigated and went on the internet and looked at it, and he did see an article where a film is available to keep the glass from imploding in, he just saying that even though he bought it in 2016, it was never made aware that that was even a possibility. So I guess that's why I bring it up. Should we be making that an option? I'm going to have a long talk with our crew tomorrow about it. Maybe we should put it on every proposal sheet to make them aware that there is a film available. The problem is not one of the filmmakers will say that it's a safety film that will guarantee it. So then again, I don't want to sell it to guarantee that they won't get hurt, because I can't guarantee that.
Right.
It'll minimize it. It'll reduce it. And the chances, and I've tested it. I've got video of testing it with banging with a hammer with a film on it. We left the film on overnight and we did it. Then we went 7 days and then 30 days. So we did it 3 times. And the film holds really good, but the filmmaker won't guarantee it. So I can't sell it as a fail-safe, but I can say that it will drastically minimize the effect of it in the event it happens. But I also have to make them aware that you may get a little distortion. It may scratch or bubble up over time. It may not have the same clarity and wash off as nicely as regular glass. So you have to decide, is it safety you're after, or is it looks and function that you're after?
Right, exactly.
And that should be installed on the outside, right?
It should be what?
Should be installed on outside of the glass.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Back to the cracked tile and then the broken glass. If now glass tile is a totally different story. We have warnings for that. But regular tile, if my guys crack a tile, we pull the glass, pay a tile guy, replace the tile, put the glass back in, no charge, no arguments, no discussions. Anything that would be a red flag on the front end, we address. But if there's no red flag and we don't address it on the front end, my guys crack a tile. It's rare, but we don't argue. Well, the tile must have been this. That's soft tile. That's fragile tile. That's blah, 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 blah. We don't get in an argument. Pull the glass out. Repair. Got a tile guy that I got that we do a fair amount of work with.
Well, this was a replacement door. So in other words, it was an older tile job from probably 10 or 12 years ago. His complaint is he won't be able to match the tile. So you'd have to retile the whole shower or find something similar enough, right?
Right.
And it was actually so minor, I couldn't even see the crack. I had to get right up into it. And it was a bullnose tile too. And that's typically where I've noticed that a lot of times they don't back butter that with the thin set very well.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, is it standard policy for you guys if you crack a tile? Do you? I mean, do you?
Oh, I do whatever we need to do. I just kind of
Yeah.
like Bill saying, I mean, you talk to the customer about it, you try to mitigate the situation. So
It's a no-win situation. If you don't take care of it,
Yeah.
you just lost all the good
Call it
work that you've
advertising.
done. Yep.
Yeah, call it advertising.
All
Put it
good
on the
work you've done
advertising
is
budget.
gone. Absolutely.
Put it on advertising because that's what it is.
To me, it's not even a money issue. It's making that customer experience
Yep.
happy at the end.
Yep.
It's not really a money issue. It's not that big of an expense overall.
Yep. Yeah. And when the rare times glass shatters, we say, well, officially the glass is not under warranty.
Yeah.
But
You know
we're going
what,
to take care of it. And
what
then
we
oh,
what
I
we
would
used to do,
definitely
Greg,
warranty implosion. I would definitely do that.
years ago, what we used to say is we will definitely guarantee the glass. You just have to pay for the labor. The labor, we have to take that out, clean it up and put it. That's what we
Sure.
used to do. And that they were still pretty happy. Look we're going to give you the warranty on the glass. No doubt about it. It's a replacement. Just have to pay our labor. And most people thought about it and said, you know what, that's fair.
Right.
That's what other companies do. But then we said, no, that still leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Now we're just doing it all. We're replacing it and covering it.
Yep. It's so rare. There's no point getting in an argument. None. Even if you finally give in, it's the worst. You paid for it and you made them mad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, Greg, you brought up glass tiles. So, what about glass tiles? How do you handle that?
We actually put in
You know
writing
that-
for glass tiles that if they crack, we'll remove the shower glass at no charge. You have to repair the glass tile. And we just don't recommend it. We steer people away from it, so hard because you can do it with maybe a pivot hinge or header is a good way to minimize cracking on glass tile. But there's a lot of stuff in writing about glass tile and a lot of conversation about glass tile prior to selling the shower.
Yes.
Right. So
Same
when
here.
you have it replaced and then it cracks again. I mean,
Then-
there's no
Right. We're not going to tear it out
guarantee, right?
again. Right. We'll pull it out once. That's what we say. We'll pull it out
Yeah.
once. But we tell people it's glass, not tile. It's in the shape
Yeah.
of tile, but it's glass.
it's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And Brian, what we found is when you run into that situation, just keep in mind the tile guys you can draw a template of where your hinge is going.
Yeah.
Take the tile away, mount your hinge to the wall, put a back plate there, and let them tile up to it. That way you're not drilling into the tile. You can just drill into the substrate, mount it, and let him tile to it. Let him make those cuts and butt up to it.
Yep. We recommend sometimes that they'll put a different type of tile right underneath the hinge, some kind of like a porcelain or something stronger.
Yeah.
Right.
But you walk in, it's all glass on the curb,
Yeah.
glass on the walls. You're like, oh no.
If you
Yeah, I
can
had
get
one of those.
involved early enough in a
Yes.
project, you can help a lot.
Mhm.
Not if there's a designer involved.
Well, except for that.
Ain't happening, Chris.
Designers and engineers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you do hear it. I have a designer. Do I get a discount? Yeah, just not in the direction you think.
Yeah, exactly. I get a discount.
Positive discount.
What do you
I
call
had an all
that?
glass shower a
Recount.
few months ago. It was a disaster. I mean,
Yeah.
they had cracked tiles everywhere, not just where we drilled. It was all over the place. Sorry. I mean,
Yeah, this glass
I-
tile thing could be a whole episode.
Well, you show up after the fact. It's already done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The plumbers already cracked 5 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that was the fact. Yep.
Well, Shannon was on last week. She wanted to talk about hiring people, and we didn't see her tonight.
I hope
Yeah.
she's doing interviews.
She's busy.
Right. There you go. Well, we talked a little bit about that. That was good. It's funny how the topic just
kidding.
kind of wanders around. It's kind of fun.
I don't know how you do it, Chris.
We cover a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Hours gone and very filling.
It's easy when you know your business, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've been practicing. I show up here every week for it's been like a year and a half or something. We've been doing this. I started looking back through the live streams, like, holy smokes, man, we've been doing this for like a long time.
Hey, Chris, can I share the news that I texted you about this week?
Yeah, please do.
She did respond.
I saw
Okay.
that. I saw the email.
Yeah. So I got an inquiry from Nora Dick, who works for US Glass, and it's glass.com. And on their website, and don't get it mistaken like I did, that it's the NGA. It's not the National Glass Association. It's the
not
other
Glass magazine. It's US Glass.
US Glass. But they, on your website, they have it where customers are requesting jobs, like they need shower doors installed. Who do we call? So I connected Nora with Chris, and then he can post them and send them out to anybody on this Facebook page within the cities that these people are requesting it for. So we're trying to set up a pretty good networking system through shower door professionals. So Chris may send you a private email, or he may just post it on our page, and who's ever in the area can handle it. But they would be thankful as an organization as well, is if we can follow up on these.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to do that. You know, maybe we'll try a few different things. I'll look in the group. There are some tools that come with the group that Facebook provides. I'm not sure what they all are. I haven't really messed with everything, but we'll figure out how to do that. That would be cool. Just like, I don't know, just job referrals coming through.
Just post them on the page.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. So look for that.
So be on the lookout. New things
It'll be
to come.
the new and improved shower door professionals group.
Here we go.
Just when you thought it couldn't get better,
That's right.
it did.
The site that keeps giving.
Hey, thanks everybody. Really appreciate you showing up.
All right, Chris, you take care.
See you next
next
week.
week.